He's Sudanese. Send him back to the Sudan.
Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Get my head down low.
Hi, I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So remember, a short while ago, we had the referendum for the Indigenous voice to Parliament. The Labor Party they were bringing forward this referendum. Australia need to vote yes or no. Should we have an Indigenous voice to Parliament? And it was all eventually going to lead us to a treaty agreement. My belief, I still believe this now, is that it was no. We shouldn't do it. I thought it was going to be bad for our country, for our nation. And I also saw some problems with the referendum or with the wording within the recommendations, what they wanted within this referendum. And that part of the issues that I saw was the people uh, who could be recommended, or the people who could say that they were Indigenous and Indigenous Australian. Anyone could virtually claim to be Indigenous. Okay, and even though they had all these these requirements that you were supposed to be able to meet to be able to claim, to be able to support the argument that you were Indigenous, that you are Indigenous, people were not meeting those requirements, and they were still being supported. Their claims of being Indigenous were still being supported, even though they didn't meet the requirements. This all brings me about to the story. Thanks very much to Men of Faith Brian for sending me this article. I was away, obviously, I was away working, so I wasn't able to see this myself. He was telling me about it. Well, I asked him about it, so he sent me a link to this. Let's check out this article. And I got to tell you, I wouldn't normally say it, but if anyone from the Labor Party is watching my podcast, listening to the podcast, well, I told you so. This is exactly why I said we need to bring in requirements for DNA. If you're going to make claims of being a certain heritage, having certain heritage within your body, within your DNA, well, then you've got to prove it through DNA. It's not enough anymore just to say it, because anyone out there can just say whatever they want, and because it's like what we can see what's happening within the trans community. Um, Anyone can claim anything, and we're told we're just supposed to accept it. Some giant 6'2" man built like flipping, you know, built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, let's just say it, can turn around and claim, can identify as a woman, and we're told by our government, the Queensland government, stands up and says, well, if they claim to be a woman, you have to accept them as a woman. That's absolutely ridiculous, but this is where we're at the moment. So let's check out this article. So the headline: criminal Sudanese migrant who identifies as Aboriginal allowed to stay in Australia. He's sorry, this story really frustrates me. He's Sudanese. Self-identifies. So a Sudanese migrant with a criminal record who self-identifies as an Aboriginal man has been granted the right to stay in Australia. The man, known only as RCWV, was born in Khartoum and spent his first 20 years in Africa before relocating to Australia on a protection visa. His visa was revoked after he amassed a series of convictions, including knife crime, car theft, and serious driving offences that left one victim with life threatening injuries. His rap sheet also included breaches of apprehended violent orders, stalking, and an assault on an Aboriginal woman. I believe the Aboriginal woman he assaulted is his partner. Hey, stuff. Who cares about her? Don't worry about protecting her. He identifies as Aboriginal. That's all that matters. Facing deportation from his protection visa after his protection visa was cancelled, RCWV appealed to the Administrative Appeals Tribunal Tribunal's decision was influenced by Direction 99, an edict from Immigration Minister Andrew Giles issued in January 23, which asked the tribunal to consider whether a non citizen offender spent their formative years in Australia. In his submission, RCWV claimed he had become an integral part of his local community during his 15 years in Australia. He highlighted his decade long partnership with an Aboriginal woman, I believe the same woman he's been assaulting, the same woman he was convicted of attacking, yes, and noted they've had 3 children together. I self-identify as an Aboriginal person and consider Australia to be my country. This infuriates me. Sorry, just got to calm down. He detailed his acceptance into the Indigenous community, including participation in a traditional smoking ceremony. Can I say, I I'm not I'm personally I'm not convinced that smoking ceremonies were part of actual tradition before white fellas came here, before the English came here. I might be wrong, but I think there's evidence out there that it's not. It's not actually tradition. It's not actually indigenous culture. So he's participated in a smoking ceremony, whatever. Idiot. He also mentioned learning Aboriginal cultural practices, painting Aboriginal art. Please don't tell me he paints flippin' dot art, which I've got some paintings, dot art painting. I quite like them. I think they're quite pretty. But again, it's not traditional. There is no cave paintings done in dot form. There are none. The dot, the dot form painting was brought about, it's only like a couple of decades old. It's not, again, before the English here were here. Look at my lips. There was no dot painting before the Englishman came, before Captain Cook. I don't believe there was any. It's a new form of, it's a new art form, a new way to paint. It's a modern, it's a modern, sorry, I just find this whole thing frustrating. A modern way of painting by tradition, and Indigenous artists have taken it up. And whatever, I quite like it, but let's not say, I've got to go on. Anyway, I'm not going to carry on about this. I just want to get this done. Frustrating. So he's detailed. I'm going to go back. So, despite his criminal history, the AAT ruled in favour to remain in Australia. The decision was slammed by political commentators, blah, 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 blah. I said it before. I said we needed to bring in DNA. Any clown, any freaking criminal from any freaking country can come in here, claim to be Indigenous now, and oh, well, we've got to accept that. He's Sudanese. Send him back to the Sudan. I'm sorry. But all you Indigenous people that allow this to happen, you're stupid. All these Caucasian people in government that allow this to happen, you're dumb. This is stupidity. Absolute stupidity. Where is Lydia Thorpe? She's too busy prancing around the countryside, proclaiming that Palestine needs to be freed. Because Palestine is like the Indigenous people of Australia. But she's saying nothing about this kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that she should be protesting about, Lydia Thorpe. You should be protesting about this. This is rubbish. Please let me know what you think. Am I overreacting here? Am I overreacting? Sudanese, born in the Sudan, lived there for the first 20 years of his life. 100% African, claiming to be an Indigenous Australian because he identifies as that. It's just a criminal. I'm out. Can't deal with this. All these people who allowed this to happen, you're just flipping idiots.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna stop me now. No more deals to be done. No selling my soul just to focus on the goal. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Nothing's gonna hold me down. Got my eye on the prize. Gonna sail on the clouds and tears outside. Nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna stop me now. No more deals to be done. No more selling out my soul just to focus on the goal. Nothing's gonna stop me